regionally, at least in the state of Connecticut, I would say, but that's not absolutely essential. You want to go through all of each one of these will have the names and resumes of the people who they intend to assign to this, hopefully. And if you get to the point where you do the first cut and you're doing the interviews, you want assurances that you're going to get their A team. You're going to ask them who will be assigned to this, and you're going to hold their feet to the fire on that. So background experience, all the pertinent licensing, what have they done, where have they done it, there's only 3 parts to any project. You got to make sure they adhere to those 3 parts. It's the budget, the schedule, and the quality. So your past projects, were they on budget? Did you meet the schedule? And the quality piece is done through reference checks with their previous customers. Any questions?
Is there one matrix that you prefer over the other?
No. Matter of fact, as I said, both of these are more or less engineering. But, you always want to know relevant experience. That goes without saying. Unique knowledge, that goes without saying. The capacity for them to handle the project, and that's a resource issue. You want to make sure they have enough people on board. So you might want to ask these people, after you get to the first cut, how many other projects are you working on right now? So you can have some assurance that that they're going to have the resources to devote to your project. Now they're going to look at you and say, well, when do you think you're going to need us? And I think that's a little bit of a wild card for you now, but you want to say, come up with some time frame and say we're going to need you in the next 8 or 9 months. And now, for your purposes, one thing that I thought of when I was considering this was, you have a couple sites here. I think that you've been considering. That's a moving target. So you have responses for architectural services, but I think you might need to incorporate some experience on their part for site evaluation, geotechnical experience. Not for the firm to have it, but who do they work with that can do that for you? Some civil engineering sort of work also. An architectural firm wouldn't have those resources or that capacity. So you would just want to know, who do you work with?
I believe that in our last meeting, that was one of the things Mr. Costa came up with, that they would be able to consult us as to, looking at different sites.
See how great minds think.
Yeah, absolutely. So they would offer their evaluation of the sites.
Right. But they won't do that.
No.
They're going to need help to do that.
Okay.
So who do you work with? Who do you envision being on your team for site evaluation? And they're going to come in here and they're going to have examples of what they've done in other places. And then it just becomes a matter of aesthetics and those other important issues. Budget, quality, and schedule.
Okay. Thank you. Kevin, do you have anything to offer about the
Yeah,
matrix?
just so we're clear on how this is, what we talked about many times. This is an RFQ for qualifications only. We had sample fees in there just for, ballpark, but this qualification is for the architects that you feel that have done related projects of seniors community/centers in the state of Connecticut, and the scope of work that we had in the qualifications. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all 12 and You interview all 12, and we have some historical background on a couple of companies to give input. But you interview all 12, and we could do the matrix. Out of that 12, we're gonna pick the top 4 or 5 that we feel are the best to go forward with an RFP. Those 4 or 5 will get an RFP that we will write up, which John was talking about, the geotechnical work with availability, projects, a little more detailed scope that I think me and Joe are talking about, the moving target of the sites that you have envisioned. And that RFP will go to those 4 or 5 that we pick, best qualified out of these 12, and they will give a proposal. They will give you a number that we ask them to, come to meetings, give evaluation, give site process, give reporting metrics to town council, board of finance. And whoever wins the RFP, it could be low, best qualified, who in your budget. Somebody can give you 200,000 for schematics, 500,000 for schematics,